big, beautiful world called planet Earth. So today, I felt like that I should talk about this because recently I've fallen into this world of Western films and Western TV shows, and you know, the 1800s, 1900s, all of that stuff, even modern day. But that's beside the point. I want to talk about there are shows and there are movies that I've seen that are really have a lot of different storylines building in it. Like, I've seen the newer version of True Grit. Very good film. Even if you have seen it, great. If you haven't, also great. I've seen this film called Homesman, which is also a very good film. And there's other films that I've seen and other TV shows that I'm looking forward to watching. For example, there's this show called Dickinson about Emily Dickinson. I don't know if she's an actual real person, but it's like the mid 1800s. The style of dress is very unique for that time period, where it's it's got the corset, it's got the dresses. It's not just that film either. There's other films and TV shows that are based in that mid 19th century. That it's just interesting to see how life was lived back in those time periods, where it's completely different from today's standards. Girls were sex workers, or not sex workers, but prostitutes and all those types of things. And now they call them sex workers. It's not prostitutes or whatever they call them these days. It's a completely different lifestyle that they lived back then. And those were young girls too, back in that time period. It was, individuals who were like 15, 16-year-olds that were getting married to, 30, 40-year-olds at that time. And I don't condone that to happen at any time throughout history, but it's just so interesting to see how history has evolved and has grown and has changed over the past 150 years, or even 200 years, or even 300 years. There's just so much that's changed and that's grown in these past so many years since those spaghetti westerns, or the westerns that that had John Wayne in it, or had other individuals that you may have heard of, like Wild Bill Hickok, or all of those types of shows that existed, like Bonanza, and all of those are interesting to look at and see how things were back in that time frame versus compared to now, and how everything is completely different from that time frame. You can't and you shouldn't marry someone who's underage, period, at the end of the day. You shouldn't be with someone, and I'm not saying this for me personally, I'm just saying a lot of individuals shouldn't be with someone that, has sex with a lot of men, or sells their body for money, or things of that nature, because back in that day it was completely different lifestyle, and it shouldn't have been that way back then, but it was, and that's what the problem is back in that time period. Today it's completely different. It's adapted, it's changed, it's evolved, it's all of those things that that in that time period was legal, or attempted to be legal, and it wasn't right. And it's there's just, and it's not just it's the planes, and it's all of that stuff that exists in this time frame. Even Jonah Hex, that was in the mid 1800s. Even in the mid 1900s or early 1900s, when westerns were a huge part of life. The Louisiana Purchase, all of that stuff. It's just so interesting to hear the backstory, to hear all of the things that would happen or didn't happen in that time frame, and it's exciting to see what's next. What's gonna be the new normal, or the the new thing that happens like 50 years from now, or 100 years from now, or 150 years from now, or 200 years from now. I probably won't be alive to see that, and who knows if I even have kids, what their lives will be like then. I'm not saying I'm going to, but if I did, what their lives would be like then. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about today. So we had a couple birthdays to wish. I want to wish Shelby Church a happy birthday. I'd also like to wish Chloe Grace Moretz and Emma Roberts a happy birthday today, and anyone else who has a birthday on this 10th day of February. And I will stay happy, stay upbeat, do what you want to do with your own life, find your love story, and just be you. And I will see you tomorrow with a brand new vlog. And bye-bye.